Hi, I'm Maren and welcome back to my channel, Maren Makes It. Today, I want to take a few moments to show you some beautiful places in the Santa Fe National Forest, talk about how to access some of the great hiking here, and also just about the region in general. Last week, I made a video talking about the forest fires that are happening right now in this area, and I was talking about how devastated I am about this. I kind of reacted to what's going on there, both emotionally and also a little bit more logically, to kind of clear up some of the facts around what's going on here. Anyways, I think the video this week is going to help show you guys why I'm so upset about this when you see the beauty of the forest that is there. The short summary of the video that I made last week is that New Mexico currently has the largest wildfires in the country. That is as of May 2022, and I'm making this video. If you're watching this in the future, Calf Canyon Hermit's Creek fire that's in northeastern New Mexico in the Santa Fe National Forest has now become the largest fire in the history of the state of New Mexico ever. It has burned over 311,000 acres. Additionally, about 638 structures have been known to be lost. They actually think this number is a lot higher because when the smoke and fire is still really heavy in an area, they can't go in and assess this, but they're likely estimating the number is much higher and closer to 1,000 structures lost so far. And the sad part is current containment on the fire is still only at 40%. So this is likely going to be a thing that damages a lot more structures, displaces a lot more people still, and burns through, sadly, a lot more acres of forest before we have this at least contained, let alone the flames are actually going out. So I'll again leave in the description down below the links for where you can donate if you'd like to, and also places you can get additional information about these fires. I think today's video is going to help show you guys why I was so upset in my video last week about these fires and why this is something that I feel so strongly about. And this right here is Miso the cat, and he is also very sad about the fires going on in that area. I know I mentioned in my video last week too that I'd be moving, and so I have moved. I'm actually house sitting right now. I'm house sitting for this little guy and his brother. So I guess before we take a look at any specific hikes, we should talk about where the Santa Fe National Forest is actually, and clear up a few things about the geography of this area. I'm doing this partially for you guys, but also for me because I'm kind of directionally challenged, I feel like, and without a GPS, I feel like I'm definitely getting lost, and even with the GPS, I seem to get lost a lot. There was also a few things that I was really stunned to learn when I first visited New Mexico, and that people that I've talked to over the years have always been surprised about when I tell them about the state. So I just wanted to clear up a few things. So New Mexico, while it's very dry there and it is desert, it's not like the straight flat desert that you picture with just cactuses growing there. I think when we're picturing that, we're picturing like the Saguaro Desert or something. But New Mexico is technically classified as a high desert climate. Sure, there's definitely cactuses and sandscapes here. However, there's also beautiful canyons, mountains, pine forests, aspen forests, meadows, rivers, and the best part is that all of these pictures were taken about a 40-minute drive from my house when I was living there. And this is a big part of the reason why I love northern New Mexico. The landscapes are honestly breathtaking, and not just that, but they're so diverse. The other thing to understand here is that Santa Fe is basically at the tail end of the Rocky Mountains. The city itself is actually pretty flat, although it is at altitude, but you can always see the mountains off in the distance. It's actually a great way to orient yourself, especially for directionally challenged people like me, because you can pretty much always see the mountains in the distance. There's also ordinances in the city for how tall buildings can be built, so you can literally pretty much always see the mountains. They're never going to be obstructed from your view by buildings or other structures being too tall. This does mean, though, that because of the altitude, you're almost at 7,000 feet here in the city. This means that the air in general is really dry. It also means that it's a lot colder here in the winter than what you think of as like Arizona or New Mexico, I think, typically. it does mean there's actually even snow here in the winter, especially if you go up even further into the mountains. So are you guys still with me? Okay, if you are, then comment down below what your favorite landscape is. I'd be very curious to hear. Are you more of an ocean person? Are you a mountain person? Are you a desert person? Are you somebody that needs your trees? Speaking of trees, now let's talk about the Santa Fe National Forest. So the Santa Fe National Forest is located on the northwest and also the northeastern and eastern sides of Santa Fe. One of the best places, in my opinion, to access some really great hiking here is actually from the Santa Fe ski basin. There's really just one out and back road that goes to this area. So in the summertime, the parking that's up there that's normally used for skiers in the winter is a really popular place to start your hikes from. Additionally, if you start from here, you have kind of a boost in altitude to start. So the city of Santa Fe is at about 7,000 feet, like I mentioned before, and starting up here puts you at about 10,000 feet. So you are really getting a boost in altitude to start your hike, which is definitely a good indicator that you're going to have some great views along the way. It's about a 30-minute drive outside of the city to get up here, depending on where exactly you're starting from. The drive itself, though, is honestly beautiful, unless, of course, you have a friend with car sickness, which I am sometimes that friend, I will admit. And that friend you might want to leave behind, or at least let them drive, because their stomach might just flip on this winding mountain road. But in all seriousness, this drive is really quite picturesque, especially in the fall when you have the aspens changing color. So the forest up here is pretty much made of two types of trees, which is pine trees and trees that are always green, like evergreens. And then the other type of tree is going to be mainly aspen. And so aspens turn like this golden yellow color in the fall. So when you drive through this area in the fall, you basically have like this patchwork of dark green and then just like bright yellow mixed in. And that's what the entire mountain hillsides look like. There's different pullouts and hiking points that you can start from all along this drive up the mountain. So if you want to have a little bit of a less challenging hike, or a hike with less altitude or less altitude change, I recommend taking a look at some of these hikes along the way. They're still going to be really beautiful. I've done many on this drive as well. I do recommend using the All Trails app here because the hikes are not necessarily well labeled in this area. It gets a little bit better from some of the most popular spots to start from, such as Hyde Park, and then again once you get back up to the ski basin. But these kind of hikes along the way are much more poorly labeled. A lot of the time you can find the parking area because it's like a pullout on the side of the road and there'll be other people parked there, especially if you're there on the weekend or in the summer. But the actual hike itself might not have the best trail markers, at least in my experience. And that's really everything there is to say about accessing the hiking in the Santa Fe National Forest from the ski basin. Be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Follow me on Instagram at Maren Harkin to see more of my adventures. And I want to thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch. I also want to thank you guys who keep coming back to watch the channel and leave comments down below. It really is so cool to continue to engage with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, YouTube!